Another way is baffling the squirrels, stopping them, preventing them from actually reaching your feeder. Not a special feeder, but your tube feeder or your wooden feeder up on a post. You could, and just in time, there's a baffle. This is what we're talking about. You put it, there's two ways to do it. On a pole, the squirrel tries to come up the pole, can't get around the baffle to get up to your feeder.
And your pole must be, what, 5 or 6 feet tall
That pole
works.
should be 5 feet. You might be able to get away with 4 feet. Just remember, a good squirrel off of a hard surface can jump 4 feet without too much trouble. So up to a tray and catch the edge of it. If it's got a rock or something close by and you can get a good angle and jump off the rock, it might be able to make 5 feet. That's a good height. A lot of people said it don't work, and the feeder's like 3.5 foot up. The squirrel jumps right up to the right past the baffle. So you want to make sure it's tall enough. And the other thing you want to make sure of is that you don't put a feeder with a baffle on it close to something they can jump from. As we showed earlier in the jumping from the tree, if it's a tree or something rigid like a deck railing, they can jump and bypass the baffle won't work.
Yeah.
It'll do its job, but they're not going to go that route. They'll take the easy route and jump to the feeder. So you have to make positioning important.
And you've got some examples of baffles. Did you want to show those?
Here is a typical, or maybe not typical, this is a good squirrel baffle. And it's even got some decorative scallops at the bottom. And it's got a hole through it. It's made to go on a large pole, not a shepherd pole. They're much too short. I'll show you another way to stop squirrels coming up a shepherd pole. But this is made to put on a pole that's, you don't need it 4.5, 5 feet high. And it's too big for the squirrel. They can climb the pole because they can get their hands around it and climb. They can't get their hands around this to grip it well enough.
You call it their hands. I'm the same way.
Well, they have hands.
They are hands, yeah.
And so they get up here and they just can't. They'll reach and try to. And
it is fun to watch too.
It is, and I
try to get around the baffle.
No matter how long this thing's been out there, they will inevitably come up and try to. They'll climb up the pole and go up in here, and you'll see the tail hanging out while they're investigating, and then they come out and say they can't do it.
Yeah.
Now I do want to show one other baffle like this because, as we're going to talk about later, squirrels aren't the only thing eating your birdseed.
Yeah.
Nighttime.
That is one big baffle you have there, Richard.
They can't even see the top of that. There we go.
That was baffle, yeah.
Now, what is this for? Raccoons.
Which we're going to talk about later.
Excellent climbers. They can go right around a squirrel baffle because they have their feet, I'll call them feet too, right around the pole, and they can reach up and around and grab the pole above it because they're that long. They've got the span. Then they just they climb right around your squirrel baffle. So if you have raccoon problems, you go with a longer baffle of this type. This is long enough to stop the raccoons. Of course, it'll stop the squirrels also. So good way to go if you have raccoons in the area.
Great advice. So we have another question while we're on this. So are these poles we would get in the plumbing or electrical department? Should you go to a specialty birding place for those poles, or can you just use a pole that you might find?
You could go and get something from a piece of pipe from the depot or something. However, what are you going to put on top of it? If you've got a feeder that's made to go on a pole, it probably is made to go on a pole that they sell or one of the standard poles. You'll find those at your bird stores. Some of the other stores carry some poles, and they're usually bigger round. They're not little bitty skinny things, but they're bigger round. I've seen people use water pipe or gas pipe from the depot type stores. They'll get a 6-foot piece. They'll pound it in the ground. They'll put a mounting on the top and screw a wooden feeder to it. That's okay too. And these squirrel type baffles, the can I showed you, and some of the other flat ones will have collars that will go down small enough to hold onto that piece of pipe, and that will work. Just make sure it's tall enough to get the job done. It may not be the prettiest one around, but they'll serve the function.